A few months ago, I read a book that I originally had no plans to read. Not this year, not ever. In fact, I was sure I would hate it. But turns out, it's now one of my favorite things I've ever read. Hello, my name is Sara, and amongst other things, I like to read books. And then I like to overthink about said books. The book I want to tell you about today is in fact not a book, but a whole series. One that is extremely popular on BookTube and BookTok and everywhere. And I genuinely believed for the longest time that I wouldn't like this book. So I hadn't picked it up. Whenever it came up in conversations with friends, I would wave a hand and said, nah, that's not for me. Whenever it would show up in a YouTube video I was watching, I would skip it or think to myself, okay, I get it. Can we move along? But one day I got curious. I don't really know what it was that I saw or I read that made me think, why do so many people love this story? And why do so many people hate it too? What is it about this book that is so polarizing, and should I read it? So I googled quotes from blank book title, and I read a few paragraphs to see if I liked the writing style, and I liked what I saw. So I got myself the ebook and started reading right then and there. I think this was the best mindset I could have possibly had because I had no expectations. I was just curious. And at this point, I didn't even know or remember if I ever knew what this book was about. Now, I had some very valid reasons why I thought I wouldn't like this book. First of all, it's fantasy. And though I used to read a lot of fantasy growing up, I don't really do that anymore. And is not one of my comfort genres, we could say. Second of all, it's a romance. And I don't really like romance. It's not just that I find them cringe, it's that I find them straight up annoying. It's just not my thing. And third of all, it's very popular. Okay, maybe that's not a valid reason. But in my mind, I like to think that I'm not like other girls. Just like we all do. But that's precisely why we are all like other girls. So, yeah. As you might have guessed by now, or maybe not, this series in question is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now, it's hard for me to reveal this title because I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed that I like this so much. It makes me feel embarrassed to admit that I liked ACOTAR a lot. And I think I'm not the only one. I must admit, I had a bit of a slow start. It took me 2 weeks to get through the first few chapters. But then I breezed through the rest of the book in a couple days. And I remember telling my friend, it was a fun read, but there were no strong feelings at that point. At the same time, I couldn't stop reading. I was gripped. I wanted to know what else happened. So I read the second book, and I was in physical pain over how much I connected with the characters. And I thought I was literally going to smash my ebook on the wall if anything happened to them. And before a week could pass since I finished the second book, I also finished the third. And there I stopped because I was satisfied. Right after I finished, I felt angry and disappointed at my old self because I had tried to keep myself from reading this. And reading ACOTAR brought me so much joy. It's one of the most beautiful series I've read in a long time. And it just touched me really deeply for many reasons that I'm not going to go into in this video. But I wondered, why would I ever want to keep myself from experiencing this? Why did I let myself be convinced that I wouldn't like it? Because I obviously had an inner curiosity to read this book, but I just kept pressing it down. I've reflected a lot about this since, and in my personal case, I think I was embarrassed to be seen as normal or too girly for reading Akatar. And that's a dumb reason. So, from this whole ordeal, I've learned the following. Deep down, I know myself like no one else really does. And if I have a gut feeling, if I have a curiosity about something, I want to follow it. I want to listen to the little voice in my heart that the big voice in my head is trying to talk over. Because I'd rather be seen as stupid, inferior, whatever, than miss the opportunity of discovering something that brings me so much joy. Before I go, I'd like to invite you to ask yourself, is there something that I'm curious about that I am keeping myself from trying? It could be a movie, it could be a book, it could be an experience. And try to see why I don't want to do that thing. And then maybe go and do it. Go and try it. See for yourself. Go read that book. Go watch that movie. Go live that experience. Even if it makes people think that you're stupid or nasty or whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is you. If you like this video and you want to see more, consider subscribing. I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.